Okay, 1, 2. Oh, that's pretty loud. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Still have a few minutes? No? Is it time? Okay. All right. Hello. Welcome. Hi, this is Jeani. We're at the ACC community room, and welcome to Gentle Yoga at noon. Before I forget, I just wanted to mention that next week is Thanksgiving. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday, but also that I'm taking the December month off, and so I encourage you to do whatever home practice that you can, or come take advantage of some of the other classes here. I'm also going to try to do about an 8 o'clock in the morning, probably 8 or 9. I'll have to figure that out and work it around my family time. But I have a Zoom room that I will try to do the primary Sun Salutation A series, which is basically a very modified version of what we've been doing. It's a little bit of a level up from the gentle yoga, though. We don't have a walking meditation, and I will, though, have a portion of it modified for people who are not able to do that reverse push-up all the way down to the floor that we have been substituting with our walking meditation. So anyhow, that being said, my email is Jeani, Jeani _Kim, Kim as in Mary, @yahoo.com. Go ahead and email me, and I will send you the link to the Zoom. And I'm also going to try to do a YouTube Live as well. I've never done that, so we'll see what happens. Anyhow, that being said, we'll go ahead and start at the back of the mat. We're going to have just that moment to arrive. And we are going to be raising our heels in our balance. So if you have a chair nearby, think about blocks or whatever prop you'd like to use, even the wall if you need. Oh, that's the wrong playlist. That's Cobra Variations I've been so obsessed with. Anyhow, have a chair nearby or something to help you stabilize as we're balancing on during our balance portion of the practice. We'll have the leg heel raises, leg balance that we had last week. So just with that in mind, we'll start at the back of the mat. And giving yourself just a little bit of time to arrive. You don't have to change the quality of your breath. But as we're standing in our home base of mountain, just give yourself a moment to see how you feel, how the mat feels under your feet, how you're breathing. And then we'll begin our breath cultivation. Let's bring our left palm to rest on our chest, right palm under the belly button. Begin to consciously, with a little more focus, breathe in through the nose. Give yourself a pause, and then exhale through the nose. Pausing once more before you start the next breath cycle. Beginning, your breath cycle might be about 2-3 seconds long, but maybe by the end of it, your breath cycle will be about 5 to 6 seconds long. On the inhale, you can feel the hand on the chest rise, the rib cage expand outwards, collarbones perhaps even lift at the top of the inhale. That brief pause before you exhale slowly through the nose. Start to engage the core, push the air out with the belly, Even press in the belly hand. Fully engaged core at the bottom of the exhale. And then we begin the next breath cycle again. We'll finish cultivating the breath with the sound at the back of the throat, something akin to an ocean wave, a deep sigh. And then we can bring our hands down to the side, connected to that yogic breath on and off the mat at any time. Alrighty. With the next inhale, imagine energy raising through the body from the feet, up the spine, to the crown of the head and beyond. On the exhale, reverse order of that energy back down to the mat, to the ground. Feeling a little more rooted at the bottom of the exhale, core engaged. With the next inhale, slowly start to feel your center tipping towards the toes, so that at the top of the inhale, you're at the edge of the toes there. With the next breath, start to slowly feel that subtle shift in the center, moving towards the heels. Fully exhaled. Again, a slight tipping sensation at the heels. Use the next couple of breath cycles to feel movement from the soles of the feet, heel to toe, toe to heel. And then we'll meet back at center, right above the ankles. Feel that energy just root on down. Inhale, feel the energy lifting through the crown of the head. So all you have to do is roll that center towards the outer right edge of the feet. Fully exhaled here. Inhale to center, exhale to the other side, 3-part breath. Or just inhale and exhale, 2-part breath. Find that horizontal mapping at the feet. Stay in contact with the mat. Just feel that subtle roll at the soles of the feet. And we'll meet back at center. Resetting the mountain once more. Inhale, lengthening through the legs to the crown of the head and beyond. Make small circles in one direction at the ankles. Feel those circles radiating outwards towards this perimeter, the edge of the feet. Give yourself a few breath cycles to find it. And you can start to circle inward, the home base mountain. Coming on back like water going down a drain. Inhale, reset the mountain, lifting all the way up. Small circles in the same area but opposite direction. Notice any differences. Sometimes it's just a little choppier, or it might be just the same. Note it. And then we'll continue the circles till we reach the outer edge, and then start bringing the circles back to home base. Right above the ankles. And then just dropping in. Do any movement to release from there. Bring that heel to toe alignment once more if you tended to move out during the transition. And we'll go ahead in our mountain once more. Start to shift weight from one side of the foot to the other foot. as you're getting more and more of the momentum, you can start to pivot the toes out just slightly. And in doing so, you might find the shoulders, the upper chest starting to move more towards one side. And you'll definitely want to lift the toes as we're pivoting on the heels gently. And without really moving the hands, but just from the movement of the torso, just like a second or two delay from the lower body, the pelvis, and all the way down the legs to the feet. You might have some momentum moving the arms. If you get a nice swinging action, you might actually start to tap the hands around the sides. Give yourself some movement in the shoulders, in the waist, in the ankles, even a little in the knees. And then we'll let that energy return back to our mountain. Pivot the toes back in. Come back to your mountain, resetting once more as you need. Sometimes it helps to roll up to the balls of the feet, come back to the heels. Feel that internal rotation of the thighs. All points of your soles of the feet should be nice and flat. And at this point, as we're moving on up to the shoulders, see if you can tuck under the tailbone. Feel more of that upward lifting feeling from the feet all the way up the legs, the hips to the shoulders. See if you can stack the shoulders above the hips, above the knees, above the ankles. You can keep a slight bend to the knees if your legs are on the tight side. But as we return to mountain, we're lengthening, getting a little longer, a little taller and stronger. And with the next inhale, palms facing forward, let's go ahead and lift the shoulders up towards the ceiling. Exhale, roll the shoulders back, let them melt down. Fully exhaled, engage the core. We'll do a total of 4, maybe 5 breath cycles worth. We're just getting that slow yogic breath to help facilitate a rounding, circular motion of the shoulders. Find release. While the rest of the body is just supported from the hips all the way down to the heels. And then with the next set, let's go ahead and lift up the shoulders, and this time roll them forward and down. Total of 4, maybe 5 breath cycles worth. And again, as we're exhaling the shoulders down, just let those triangular shoulder blades sort of slide down the back, gently tucking in the points to the mid-back. And then after that last one, we'll go ahead and move on up to the neck and head. At this point, go ahead and shake out any residual holding on to that last pose. And we'll go ahead and inhale. Feel a little taller, like a string, lifting the crown of the head. Maybe the knees getting a little longer, straighter. And we'll go ahead and feel that pulling string at the crown of the head once more. Top of the inhale. So we can exhale. Let the right ear dip towards the right shoulder. Both shoulders still in one line, just like the rest of our major joints, in one line with their partner joint, all the way down to the feet. Inhaling, you might feel the chest lifting at the sternum. Exhale, turn the gaze. Just let the turn be a nice, relaxed, natural turn. Use the next 3 to 4 breath cycles. See if you can release on the left side of the shoulder, neck, jaw, temple. Have the eyes assisting by just resting at the rightmost of your periphery. Sometimes with each passing exhale, you may be able to rest a little more to the right. And after that last exhale, we can inhale the eyes, the gaze, and the head completely lifts at the top of the inhale, so that all you have to do is exhale over to the other side. Inhale for length. Exhale to turn the gaze. A soft resting of the gaze on the left side. That deep yogic breath in. That deep yogic breath out. And after the last exhale, inhale the eyes, the gaze, the crown of the head lifts completely at the top, and then let the eyes float downward with the exhale. Rest the eyes at the top of the mat. Give yourself the next 3 to 4 breath cycles, maybe 5. Feel the chest expanding upwards and outwards with the inhale. With the exhale, slowly engage the core at the bottom of the exhale to help expel the air from the lungs and flatten out the belly. You might have a slight uplifted feeling with the inhale, with the crown of the head slightly diagonally tilted. Shoulders are still nice and open, away from the ears. Shoulders to the heels. One long column of support. And maybe with the very last exhale, you'll feel your shoulders melting, the neck releasing at the back. And then you can inhale the eyes. Guide them upwards, past the midline, to somewhat above you. And once you can see, stop craning the neck and give yourself the next few breath cycles to open up through the mouth, the jawline, the tongue, the brow line. Maybe your earlobes can feel heavy, and the scalp, the crown of the head, nice and relaxed. You can make small movements with the jaw, movements with the mouth. See if you can release any tension hidden there. And after that last breath thought cycle, you can bring the eyes back down to the midline. And just shake out any residual activation of muscles. I have a tendency to grip at the mat, so I like to lift my feet. If you have a locked in leg, maybe gently bounce the knees. Give yourself a little bit of a jiggle. Do what feels good to release. And then we'll begin with our walking meditation. So if you have your blocks nearby, if you need the chair, walk on up to the chair. If you need help supporting the back as you come on down to your first fold, we're going to feel our fingers reaching downwards as we inhale the extended arms up. And at the top, you might reach up, but just pause there for a moment and then engage the core as you exhale. Start to bring the tailbone back. Imagine hinging at the hips, not the back. And if you press into the balls of the feet, you should feel the tailbone, the hips opening up. You can bend the knees if you need, and you can float on down, or you can walk your hands down. You can bring your hands to the back of the chair, wherever you are. If you have your blocks nearby, you can rest your hands on the blocks. But we are here for about 5 breath cycles, just helping our back release. So give yourself that good, slow yogic breath. If you need to rest your forearms on your thighs, if you need to bend the knees more and bring down the tailbone, just to help stabilize your fold. You might have more of a half lift position. You might be folded with the chest to the thighs. But wherever you are, we're focused on keeping that secure support from the hips down to the heels, while the tailbone down the spine, neck, the crown of the head is releasing with the help of gravity, or maybe just supported by blocks, by your thighs, by palms on the floor, fingertips on the floor, wherever you are.
keeping about that slow yogic breath in and out through the nose with pauses in between. See if you can release through the lower back, through the arms. Make sure you're not rolling out from your foundation at the feet. And as we prepare to come out of our first lengthy ragdoll of a forward fold, you can think about, on the inhale, pressing into the feet, firming the legs, engaging the core, and rolling up one vertebra at a time. Pressing into the feet as the torso comes all the way back up, pressing into the feet, the legs, the hips pressing forward, and coming back, giving yourself a moment to let the blood rush back to the head. We'll do that one more time. Reaching downward, inhale the arms up. Exhale, start to bring the tailbone back as we fold, hinging at the hips. Bend the knees if you need. Float on down, walk on down. Come down to your version of your second fold. It's a little bit shorter this time, about 3 breath cycles. Give yourself a moment. See if you're releasing through the upper body. See if you're holding on to the weight in your head. See if you can give yourself small no, yes movements. Maybe even a dangling circular bobbling of the head, one direction, the other. And then we'll come up one more time. Bring your blocks with you if you need to use them. We're going to engage the core on the inhale. Come on up one vertebra at a time or with a straight back, bringing the hands to heart center and lifting all the way up, pressing into the feet, lengthening the legs, lifting, exhaling hands down heart center. And we'll start our walking meditation. Pressing into the palms, bringing standing weight to the left side of the body. Once you find that subtle shift, if you can lift the right heel, right sole of the foot, and start to step it forward. See where you are today. The higher the knee, the bigger the step, the more challenging. If you can just bring it forward, exhaling fully here, and then inhaling the left foot up, exhaling that down. You can launch with the back foot to help bring the balance to the front foot. Engage your core, press into your palms, and start to walk towards the top of the mat in a slow meditative walk, 1 full breath cycle per step. You can always walk in place, just lifting the knees and the foot and stepping in place is good too. And at the top of the mat, we'll meet in mountain. Looking at the block tops or your fingertips, press into the palms, lift the hands on the inhale, and separate the hands on the exhale. We start to fold once more. Engaged core, stepping into your feet, into your foundation, hinging at the hips. You can use the chair in front of you if it's there. You can use your blocks. Fully exhaled. A little too close here. Inhale, half lift. So wherever your hands have contact, shins, thighs, blocks, mat, we're going to try to lengthen through our back and through the legs. See if you can get a 90-degree angle at the hips here. And feel those feet nice and flat, even distribution of weight, with a little more weight towards the tops of the ankles. See if you can feel that tailbone to head, crown of the head extension with the core engaged, while the tailbone, hips down to the heels is another energy line. And then you can exhale. just allow your elbows to bend, or just bring the chest a little closer to your thighs. And then we can inhale, set the hands to either side. Exhale, start to walk your feet back to the mat. Bend your knees. You can step one long step back at a time, or you can make many steps back. We'll inhale our shoulders over the wrists to come into a high plank for just a moment. And then exhale, let the knees, the shins, tops of the feet onto the mat. See if you can open up the hips and lengthen through those extended arms. I feel like I'm a little too far forward over my arms. You can have a 90-degree angle at the wrists. If you feel that that's a little sensitive, you can walk the hands a little further up, or you can lift the knees up and walk the knees back a little more to relieve a little pressure if you're feeling that at the base of the hands. We want to keep the entire hand position, the palms feeling the support of the upper body. The core is engaged, and the lower body supported mainly by the shins, the tops of the tops of the ankles on the mat. And if that's not feeling good for you, if you're cramping in your arches, you can always tuck your toes and flex the feet slightly. But we want to feel that diagonal energy line from the shins all the way to the crown of the head with a good, strong core. Pressing into the mat, hopefully it'll help you to keep the shoulders protracted away from the spine. Give that good support with those strong arms. Give yourself one more inhale, one more exhale, and then we can tuck the toes on an inhale, lift up the hips, and exhale. Start to press the hips back towards your down dog. Separate the feet if they're a little too close to each other, and your heels do not need to be down on the floor. They can be lifted, and just give yourself some time to adjust your first down dog. We're here for about 5 breath cycles. You can roll up to the balls of the feet, and then exhale, press into the arms, and slowly let the heels float downward. You might find yourself a little closer to the mat. If you already have flat feet on the mat, think about turning in at the inner thighs, a slight pigeon toe of the feet, so you can maximize this down dog position with an opened hip area. And what we're looking for is from the tailbone down the arms, down the ribs, down the arms to the hands, one long flow of energy, a second long flow of energy from the hips down to the heels, down to the feet, and at the same time, an upward energy lifting of the hips towards the ceiling. An upside down V, maybe an upside down U. And we want to keep the ears somewhere above, somewhere in between the upper arms without having the shoulders rolling into our ears. So make sure if you were to bend your elbows, they'd bend towards the back of the mat. You might need to widen your stance between the hands if you need. But we want to keep the shoulders rotated away from the ears. One more deep inhale. One more deep exhale. Engage the core. Really carve out that belly button. Stick it to the spine. And then roll the eyes towards the hands. Bend the knees if you need. And we're going to take our blocks if we're using them and walk our hands to the back of the mat to the fold. Fully exhaled into our fold. Inhale, half lift. Nice and long in the back, long in the legs. And then exhale once more to the fold. And then on the inhale, we're going to come up, slow roll up, or with a strong straight back. Either way, drop the tailbone if you need, bend the knees if you need, and lift all the way back up to mountain, lengthening through the legs. Exhaling, hands down heart center. We'll walk one more time, or our second time. Inhaling, standing weight to the left side, lifting the right foot, stepping it forward on the exhale.
Inhale, left foot up. Find your balance before you move forward. Exhale that foot down. It's okay if you fall out. Just come on back. Follow your yogic breath. We'll meet at the top of the mat. Looking at the block tops or your fingers. Watch them rise on the inhale. Lifting up. Separating the palms. Exhale, fold. Engage your core. Step into those feet. But let the back float down.
Fully exhaled into your fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step your hands to either side of your feet. Step back into your high plank. Feet to the back of the mat. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists, and this time stay long in the legs. Nice long hypotenuse, engaged core. Press into the hands and extend through the arms. Protract the shoulders away from the spine. We're here for about 3 breath cycles, nice and slow. Feel the heels to the crown of the head as one long hypotenuse, one long diagonal. From the shoulders down to the hands, from the heels down to the balls of the feet. 2 other vertical energy lines. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, press into the arms, come into down dog. Adjust your feet if you need. Move towards that upside down V shape. Feel that external rotation of the shoulders away from the ears as you extend through the arms. With the next inhale, roll the eyes to the hands, bend the knees if you need. Walk the hands to the back of the mat, to your fold. Fully exhaled. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, engage the core. Come on up, your choice.
Exhale, hands down heart center, and one last walking meditation. Inhaling, standing weight to the left side. Stepping right foot up on the inhale. Exhaling it down. And continuing on to the top of the mat. Engaged core. At the top of the mat, we'll look at the fingertips. Pressing into the palms, lift the hands up to the sky. Separate the palms, engage the core, exhale to fold. Hinging at the hips.
Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step the hands to either side of the feet. Walk into your high plank. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists. Stay for 3 full breath cycles. Core engaged all throughout. Feel the skin between the first and second knuckles of each finger helping to support, as well as the fingertips, all the way to the entirety of the palm, to the heel of the palms, supporting the upper body. Feel the balls of the feet. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, press into back, down dog. 3 breath cycles here. On the inhale, look to the hands, and then walk the hands to the back of the mat. Fully exhaled in your fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come on up. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. Finally down to our side. Okay, I'm a little warmer. It might be the heat in here too, kicking in. But it's a good time for a little bit of water. We're going to be moving into our standing pose next. And let's see, again, we're going to be lifting our heels while we're standing in mountain. So you may need a chair nearby, you may need the wall. So I'm going to bring this chair over. And you can do this also just sitting in the chair as well. If your balance is kind of off, all you're doing is sitting in the chair with the sits bone at the edge of the chair, either with the at the front or with the side. And I'm just going to keep it here at the side, maybe a little further out here. But if you're sitting down, you can put a block under your feet as well, if that helps you. But you want your knees at about a 90-degree angle, your hips at about a 98-degree angle. And here, if you're standing and you've got something in front of you to help you, or if you're just free agent here, able to stand, we're starting in our mountain, and I'll just come into this perspective so you can see. Here's a good time to really reset the mountain. Make sure you can feel a little more stability in the length of the legs. So if you had bends to the knees, see if you can lengthen through them. See if your tailbone is tucked under. If you lift up the chest, roll the shoulders back and down. See if you can bring more of the ear over the shoulder, over the hips, over the knees, over the ankles, in a longer one vertical alignment. We're feeling all points of our feet as well. Make sure you're not rolling out to the outer edges or in or towards the toes or to the heels. We just want nice, firm, even distribution of our weight. And as we're here, we're going to inhale the arms up. And we're going to start with a slight lean towards the right, but keep your left foot down. Make sure it doesn't lift up. And you don't have to bend the torso so much as we're feeling that anchor from the left foot all the way up the rib cage, up the line. We want that nice long length. If you can interlace the fingers, you can always bring the index and the thumb fingers out for a nice pointer. If that's hard on your shoulders, you can bring your hands out forward. You can always have your hands out at a tangent without touching palms. But we want to feel that nice length on the left side. Breathing one more deep inhale. You can feel a lengthening. One more deep exhale. Feel a rooting down to the balls of the feet. And then we can inhale back up to center. Exhale, hands down, heart center, and down to the side. Go ahead and give yourself a shoulder roll. Give your neck a little gentle movement from side to side, up and down. Just slightly, just to release from that last position. You can even roll some weight to the balls of the feet. We're going to inhale the arms one more time. Nice and long, root down through the legs as we reach up. See if you can grab a hold of the hands. And then exhale, just slightly lean over towards the left, but keep that right foot anchored. We want to have even distribution of weight in the hips down
And we're just lengthening on the right side of our leg, rib cage, arms. And you're doing what you can with your shoulders. You can have them at a tangent. One more deep inhale, feel that stretch. One more deep exhale, feel the rooting of that right foot down. And then inhale all the way back up to center. Exhale, hands down, heart center, and down to the side once more. Okay, and then with this next one, take a good reset of the mountain if you need. Make sure your feet are heel to toe in alignment. You've got about a square foot, a foot between the feet, right underneath the hips. Nice and relaxed shoulders. We're going to inhale. Start to roll the weight to the balls of the feet and lift your heels. If you're seated in the chair, you could just lift your heel in your position. And just stand where you can. If you have to tap back down, that's okay. See if you can lift up in a vertical motion more than pitching the top portion of the body forward. And you might roll out, you might roll in. You don't have to go super high. You can just intend to lift the heels as well. Squeezing the glutes to help stabilize the legs. And then slowly let the heels float back down. And release through that. See if you need to bend the knees a little bit. You can wobble. You can hold on to something if you need to. Shift the weight from side to side. You can bring some weight to one side and bring some movement to that one side leg that's lifted. Maybe small circles, maybe a forward, back kick, maybe an out on the same side kick as that leg before you cross the midline. I really like to gently let the back of my, the tops of my toes go behind and just rest there for a moment. And that seems to sometimes release through that right side. Do the same with the other side if you'd like. We did both sides at the same time, so sometimes we just need to release. Okay. And then we're going to do one more thing. If you have a chair, what you can do is, once more, sitting on the edge of the chair, or you can make your way down to the mat in a seated staff position. And I'll show you how to do that once I demonstrate in the chair. But just in case you've forgotten, when we're releasing through our right hip, you can be at the edge of the chair here and keep one hip on the base of the chair while the other one kind of free floats outward, and it'll enable you to kind of open up. Just start to bring the knee downward. You might need to bring more of that one hip over, and you can bring the toe top with a tucked toe there. You can rest the top of your foot, but we're trying to really bring more of that leg downward so you can open up through this right hip. And you can open up through this way, and then when we're done, just walk that foot back up and switch to the other side so you can open up this side in that same manner. But I'm going to demonstrate, if you're down on the floor, what we're coming to is our staff position. And that just means sitting on our bottom, lengthening our legs. We're going to open up our hip in a different manner, but in this same way, we're bringing up the left foot and opening up externally, rotating that left hip and bringing the sole of the foot up this one leg and opening that hip. You might have to curve the lower back a little bit, but we're trying to lift up the hip, keep that 90-degree angle at the, lift up the chest, keep that 90-degree angle at the hip. And that might mean that you can only bring your foot up to the calf. It might mean that you can open up the hip entirely and let this left knee meet the mat and bring the sole of the foot towards the inner thigh. But wherever you are, you might even need, if you're not able to sit in your staff and get too far down there, you might need to sit on your blocks to lift up the hips so that they're just a little higher than your knee. And in that way, be able to bend the left leg, keep that somewhat upright position, and bring that left foot up a little higher to keep the knee going down just a little more. And we're trying to open up through this left hip. And just as you're in the chair, opening up through your left hip, not much of an extended external rotation, you're still extending that left hip while you're on the chair. But here we're not only opening up, but we're externally rotating out. And here, your long leg should be down on the mat with the toes and the knees generally pointed upwards, and lifting up the chest and trying to lift the torso into that 90-degree angle, doing the best that you can. Breathe here for about 3 breath cycles. With each passing exhale, hopefully you'll feel a little less tension and a little more release in that left hip, left glute, left hamstring area as we're externally rotated in that left side. Then after your last breath, we'll start to lift the knee. You can use your hands to assist. You can you can curve your lower back if you need, and start to walk that foot back down into your staff position. Go ahead and tap out the knees. We'll move over to the other side. And if you're in the chair, you can just switch on over to the other side of the chair and walk that foot back. In here, again, we can externally rotate as we start to draw the sole of the right foot towards the left calf, maybe the left thigh, and the right knee might be highly lifted. Just do what you can where you can, and then you can hopefully find that upright position with the chest, and that's about where I'm going. So that's do what you can where you can. If you can bring your foot all the way into the inner groin, inner thigh area, good for you. Then you'll focus on bringing that right knee out, so you have almost like a half lotus position, a tree position as you're seated in your staff. And once you found your sweet spot, breathing the 3 to 5 breath cycles. See how we're doing with time. Okay. And after your last breath, we're going to bring the knee back up, assist with your hands if you need. And as you draw the knee up, internally rotating the hip, we're going to crawl, inch the leg downward, the toes downward. And again, give yourself another movement that helps you release from there. You might knee tap, you might go wave with the soles of your feet, rotate your hip joints, your legs as one unit, in and out. Point your toes, flex your feet. And if you're in the chair, just move on over to the other side. You get 2 special extensions, but now we're going to come onto our belly, and we'll get the complete full hip extension on our belly, and we will meet in our Sphinx position. And so however you make it to the floor on the belly, you might feel really good having the hips finally, I'm getting a little feedback, with the hips finally supported. So just savor that for a little bit. You can roll on the hip bones, the crests of your pelvis right there. Have the tops of your feet resting. You can have your face off to one side, but give yourself some rest on the other side as well. Press into the chest and turn the gaze to the other side. And breathe deeply.
And now we've got that nice hip extension. We'll bring our face to kind of hover with the chin and nose above the mat. And what we're going to do now is keep the palms, arms extended at your side, down, maybe about 6 inches away from the hips. You have like an upside down V shape with shoulders. We're going to lengthen through the right leg. Just lengthen. Point the toe. And then relax that leg. Give yourself a moment here. Breathe. And then inhale, lengthen through the left leg. Engage through the quad. You might have your kneecap lifting slightly above the mat. But we're just making that engagement of the left leg. You should feel your glute firing all the way down to the toe. And then relax. And then with the next inhale, we're going to lengthen through both legs. And just keep your legs engaged. The tops of the ankles are pressing down into the mat. Your glutes are engaged. Everything is just one solid unit from the hips down to the toes. And then we'll relax the legs. And then start to walk the hands, the forearms up. Hands at about the shoulders. We're going to meet in our Sphinx. Finally, let the shoulders be nice and open. Don't let them crowd, rotate into the ears. You want those shoulders protracted away from the spine. Press into the forearms. Get the palms down on the mat. And you should be looking somewhere down. Maybe the top of your rib cage right there at the diaphragm is still on the mat. But with the next inhale, you could use the forearm palm position to press down and sort of lengthen through that upper body. And at the top of the inhale, just bring the gaze to the tops of the fingertips. And breathe here for about 3 to 5 breath cycles. With each inhale, you might find the skin at the top of the rib cage where the ribs meet, just slightly lifting. With the exhale, you might feel the belly just fall into the mat. You should have a nice length to the back of the neck, crown of the head, all the way down to the diaphragm, belly, one long diagonal. And with the last exhale, slowly let the elbows move out to the side, pivot the hands inward, and let the palms support your forehead. And breathe. With the next breath, you can bend your knees and roll the ankles. Maybe they're rolling in the same direction, maybe in opposite directions, maybe from out to in, maybe from in to out. You can point the toes, flex the feet gently, and then let the feet return gently to the mat. We'll meet in Shavasana next. So just find your way on your back in your final resting pose. You might roll onto your side and then onto the back. You might give yourself a reverse push-up. If you're in the chair, just get ready for your final version. And that's, again, a gentle 90-90 with your feet in front. And you can rest. You can have your seat all the way into the back of the seat of the chair so that you can rest your back. You can roll up a blanket or towel and rest that at the lower lumbar to help you keep a vertical back. You can have your sits bones at the edge of the seat and just sit upright and just gently relax. Lengthen through the legs, and in your final Shavasana, you might have your favorite way of laying down, but allow your arms to be lengthened, relaxed at your side. You can have your knees tented, knocked inward, supported by blocks underneath, or just laying nice and long, straight underneath the hips or out towards each corner of the mat. Find your final resting place and soften the gaze or close your eyes. When you hear the 3 bells, we'll awaken. I'll be sitting up to mind the time.
Bringing the mind back to the body, taking note of sounds outside your room, sounds within your room, and finally back to your breath. Notice how the air enters your nose, how the air exits your nose. And then with the next few movements of fingers and toes, maybe rocking the body, find your way up into a comfortable seated position. We'll end our class with our breath of fire, bringing a little balance, some stability to both sides of our hemisphere. And just a good energy boost as we reawaken. If you feel cold at all, giving yourself these short bursts of air, either through your nose or through pursed lips, really helps to warm you up. It's one of those nice breathing techniques, especially if you feel a little sluggish and slow. So sitting up nice and tall. I'll try to keep count with my hand. We're up to 30 now. So we'll start with a deep inhale, pursing our lips, shooting out now. Fully exhaled, lift the pelvic floor, chin tuck. Hold the breath for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then release. Give yourself another breath or two, and we'll have our second round. Sitting up nice and tall, inhale. Begin. Fully exhaled, lift the pelvic floor, chin lock. And then release. You might feel a little buzzing around the lips. It's a little bit of a hyperventilation, so do be careful when you stand back up. Bringing hands to heart center. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you hopefully next New Year. Namaste. Thank you. Yay.